My name's Aaron. Why is it that orchestra and band music is just so boring? Why is it that marching band is just so lame? Why is it that jazz makes no sense and people won't listen to music unless it has words to it? Why is it that nobody comes to the drumline shows? Why can't a great piece of music or a great musical performance be appreciated by the public? Does anyone care about music like the music we play at all? Let's start with this. I'm a music nerd. I'm the band geek everywhere I go. I have an instrument, for God's sake. If I'm not directly into the game of whatever's happening in the moment, I'm thinking of my current shows and my current pieces that I still have to learn and play. I have a case of what is called perfect pitch. Honestly, it's overrated. I taught myself how to play piano, and I've been the low brass section leader for 2 years. I've been in the works of music since I was in 5th grade, but I've had 4 years dedicated to high school music, in which all those years, the Wind Symphony, our top group here at Independence, has received all unanimous superior ratings, which just means we did really good and we got high scores every year. With our latest drumline season, we made city history with our placement in WGI finals. Just this great program. For the first time in little old Bakersfield, we got us all the way up there. We received first place at Pep and Pageantry Arts Association of Central California finals. We just call it PAC finals, though. Oh, but God, who cares? Because the band sucks and they haven't done anything since football season ended. Well, one medal and superior rating after another may tell otherwise. I don't want to convert any of you to thinking that band is better because we keep getting first place and high ratings. I hate that our only great thing that people would barely even know about us is that we get high ratings. I don't care. I'm here to show that there's a point to making and practicing music. There's a point to listening to just super boring stuff. In case you didn't know, because you can get confused if you don't play anything like this. This is a trombone. It's not a trumpet. It's not a big old bell tuba, which are actually called sousaphones, by the way. This is the big, dumb, long slide whistle of the low brass. It makes the classic. That was actually one of my first solos, now that I'm thinking about it. It's from our first big piece in 5th grade called Attack of the Slide Trombones. And that's about all the good recognition that this thing gets in any kind of band piece. You get some people playing it crazy, like the classic. You can go anything with the slide because it's just everywhere, all over the place. Or you can even just play a motorcycle. Which, by the way, it's just going into this dumb little thing. It's hard if you can't roll your R's. Speaking of which, this mouthpiece, $90. Yeah, this instrument can cost over $1,000. My schedule runs 3 periods with this baby for the whole time. I have 0 for orchestra. I have first for Wind Symphony, and a period that technically doesn't exist that Green doesn't even get paid for jazz band. I call it the 9th period. 8th period was dedicated to drumline, but our staff doesn't even get paid to have rehearsals from 5:30 to 9 every Thursday, or extended periods on Wednesday from 2:30 to 6, or even all-day Saturday competitions. Nobody's getting paid, and yet we're all still so damn good at dedicating our time and energy into the activities we auditioned for in the first place. That's why I hate first place, because everybody gets to see the end, and nobody cares about the process before we get there. Nobody really should, you know? If we can get people entertained, if we can impress the people we compete against that we will eventually befriend, then that's all that should matter. However, I think the process is very important. And people like to overlook it because it looks too easy or there's actually nothing to it. Guess what? The reason it looks so easy is because we practice it so much that it's no longer difficult for us to put together 8 minutes of straight music and acting just for the product. Every time I play music, it's just this undescribable feeling. It has to come from the heart or something like that. People can sing all they want, but if you can't use words, or if someone is preventing you from shouting your name and how you feel from wherever you go, something in any boring piece of music you'll ever hear, listen for those moments of silence. Listen for the pauses. Listen to how they feel without actually needing to see them. It's hard, so people don't care for it, honestly. But if you just let the music fade in before zoning out, you'll find that. That music can be really boring. Even us musicians will get tired of something in every single piece. So the pieces are memorable for being hard and being annoying, kind of just stuff like stuff. And sometimes you just gotta have fun, especially going for that jazz style. See if I can even remember. They're supposed to be in high E flat up there, but I can't hit that note. You should try it sometimes. Here's the point of me playing everything from the numbers that you gave me, from Chesnikov to just me playing motorcycles across the street. Everything you'll ever hear in classical music is going to have things that you just might not ever understand just because we're not used to hearing it. If we had it more during childhood, if it had been a better part of any of our education, we would have seen test scores and grades going up years ago. It doesn't mean that people like me are any smarter. Trust me, we have some dumb people in our band that messed up. Or any of us have any better grades than the rest. I also. It just means that people like me can understand things that have patterns, like in marching band, and things that are purposely put out of place, like in jazz music. It gives kids like me a better opportunity for acting, like in drumline, and it gives us a better reason to use our voice when we have none, and to appreciate hard work and keeping your own integrity when playing pieces that you may not like so much. Playing music like Mozart, Bach, Tchaikovsky, Holst, or hell, even just listening to the marching band with an appreciation for the fact that they are not just walking, but actually have a sort of technique. It's just not a thing anymore. Nobody's going to appreciate the music we do unless they are in band or their own child's doing music. Even then, our parents have no clue what the hell we're playing half the time. Our teachers may barely get it too because they majored in stuff that can have a successful career without knowing the difference between a baritone and a euphonium. Very similar instruments, but one's used in marching and one's used for concert. For them, there's no reason to care. For you guys, there's not really much that I can do about it. But throughout all my life, I had no idea that there was a point to it other than bonding and getting to do cool stuff like playing an instrument that wasn't as easily recognizable as a guitar and still get good ratings on it. It wasn't until this year that I realized I loved listening to music in a new way because I just felt more. And I understood technique enough that I could recognize what needs to be worked on, what was really impressive, and why stuff on the radio has a lesser musicality, yet is still appreciated by the mass media more than Mozart could ever hope to be appreciated again. There's not enough I can do to save any good reason to listen to Beethoven's second part of Für Elise that nobody knows other than appreciating its difficulty and how much people like its first part of simplicity. In case you don't know, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It feels like everybody can play it nowadays. There's the fact that he actually wrote that piece for one of his students that he really, really liked. He wrote the first part so that she could play it. Then he found out that she was engaged to some man and wrote the second part. Absolutely insane on here. Most people don't even know there's a second part. But that first part is not going to cut the second act of musical pettiness. We just haven't learned about this stuff because we're finding that it's not as necessary as language arts, math, science, and all the like. But all of those things are included in music. The math comes into play for counting rhythms, reading rhythms, sight reading rhythms, recognizing musical phrases, and switches into one thing onto the next, like how I went from just slow stuff to even that little jazzy bit. I lost my place, okay. A lot of that, like switching back and forth, still has to remind me that I have to apply all the skills I learned from one thing to the next, which kind of feels like how statistics does. We're learning z-score all over again just for binomial distributions, and we haven't learned z-score since the beginning of the year, so that's real cool. Science comes into play with how your lips, amateur, the hole in your mouth, the amateur, all interact with the mouthpiece. How you can deepen and darken the sound depends on your body changing something. Language arts, well, music is an art form. We see and hear music all the time. Seeing almost goes perfectly well with music. It's been with us through the ages, but we're now degrading it as much as we can before we all leave. Take time to re-listen to your music in a new way. Let yourself know if you can feel or hear or understand something in a new way, with or without the lyrics. No matter who or what you're listening to. Never take a pause of silence for granted. Find humanity in the boring. Thank you.
Bravo!
That is
Unbelievable, Aaron. Okay.